Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to English class. Today, I'm going to explain punctuation marks. So, what is a punctuation? Punctum is a word which derived from a Latin word punctum. So, which means point. Punctuation derived from the Latin word punctum. So, what is the Latin word punctum? Which means point. Or pointing. So, if we are not using the punctuation, what will happen? The sentences give a different meaning. So, we must follow punctuation marks while writing English sentences. Okay? So that today I'm going to explain these punctuation marks. There are so many punctuation marks are there in English. So the first one is capital letters. First one, capital letters. Capital letters. So where do we use capital letters? First one, they are used for for beginning of a sentence. Beginning a sentence. So, whenever we are going to write a sentence, the first letter should be capital. Okay? So, for example, I'll give you an example. Smita went to market. Smita went to market. Smita went to market. And Raju is a clever boy. Raju is a clever boy. Raju is a clever boy. So here, see this the first letter at the beginning of the sentence I have written capital. So the capital letter must use in the beginning of the sentence. At the beginning of the sentence, here, see, yes is the capital letter, and here in the second sentence, R is the capital letter. So at the beginning of the sentence, we must use capital letters. This is the first rule. And the second rule is for the pronoun I. For the pronoun I. Whenever we write this pronoun I, we must write in capital letters. Okay? We must use capital I. We should not write small I. Okay? The pronoun I we must use capital. Okay? For example, I don't like coffee. I don't like coffee. But I like tea. I like tea. See here, the first letter, this is the I pronoun. And here also I used I. So whenever we are writing pronoun I, that should be capital. I we must write in the capital letters. Okay. One more rule. For the proper noun, whenever we are writing a proper noun, we must start with the capital letter. Okay. So for the proper noun, for beginning the proper noun. proper noun. At the beginning of the proper noun. Okay, should I read? For example, Delhi is the capital of India. Delhi is the capital of India. Delhi is the capital of India. So look at here. Delhi is the proper noun here. India also proper noun. So whenever we are writing a proper noun, we must start with a capital letter. You see this D is the capital letter, and from India, India is a proper noun. So the first letter I used a capital letter. So for the beginning of the proper noun, we should use capital letters. Okay. And next rule. For the pronouns, first the pronouns, he, him, and his. Him and his. We should write capitals when they stand for God. When they stand for God. Stand for God. So the pronouns he, him, his. We should use capital letters. The beginning of the pronoun we should use capital letters when they stand for God. In the place of God, whenever we use in the place of God, at that time we have to use he, him, his, the capital letters. Okay. For example, God is everywhere. God is everywhere. God is everywhere. He always watching us. Watching us. He always watching us. So here we use first God is everywhere. So in the place of God, we use he. So whenever we are using, whenever this pronoun stands for God, we must use capital letter H. Okay? And next rule, for the beginning of abbreviation. Next one, for the beginning of abbreviation. Beginning of abbreviation. So the beginning of abbreviation. So for example, like what are the abbreviations? MA. MA means Master of Arts. So we have used here capital M, capital A. So Master of Arts. This full form is Master of Arts. And BA. Mr. Mr. Okay, here M I use capital letter and doctor. So the abbreviation whenever we are writing a short form, abbreviation is nothing but short form. So we must use capital letters. Okay, is it clear, students? For the beginning of direct speech, and one more rule is for the beginning of direct speech. For the beginning of direct speech. For the beginning of direct speech. For example, Tom said, Tom said, I'm not free now. I am not free now. I'm not free now. Usha said, I want some books. I want some books. I want some books. So look at here. For the beginning of the direct speech. Okay. I told you for the beginning of the direct speech. See this? Tom said here T we use capital letter. Tom said, I am not free now. Okay. And here Usha said, I want some books. So here pronoun also we use capital, isn't it? And the beginning of the sentence, beginning of the direct speech, we use capital letters. Is it clear, students? Where do we use capital letters? The first rule is that we use at the beginning of the sentence. At the beginning of the sentence, we must use capital letters. And at the beginning of the proper nouns, we use capital letters. And the pronoun I, whenever we are writing I as a pronoun, that should be we write in a capital letters. And at the abbreviation, whenever we are writing abbreviation, we must use capital letters. Okay? And the pronoun he, him, his. Whenever we are writing he, him, his, if they stand for God, at that time we use capital letters. And one more rule for the beginning of the direct speech. Whenever we are writing a direct speech, at that time we must start with a capital letter. Is it clear, students? Where do we use capital letters? First thing, when the beginning of the sentence. At the beginning of the sentence, and whenever we are writing proper nouns, that should be started with capital letters. And pronoun I, if the pronoun he, him, his, if they stand for God, at that time we must write capital letter. And at the beginning of whenever we are writing abbreviations like MBA, Master of Arts, BA, Bachelor of Arts, and Mr. MR we are writing, so M must we should write capital. DR that means doctor. So whenever we are writing abbreviations, at the time we use capital letters. And the last rule is that for the beginning of the direct speech, we use capital letters. Okay? Is it clear, students? Okay. Right? Next, full stop. Second rule, punctuation is full stop. So where do we use full stop? Full stop should be used. It is used. It is used to end. It is used to end assertive, assertive and declarative imperative sentences. Imperative sentences. Imperative sentences. For example, birds are singing. Birds are singing. And the little girl smiled. The little girl smiled. Little girl smiled. See this sentence, this is the assertive sentence. Birds are singing. So, birds are singing. At the end of the sentence, I use full stop. And the little girl smiled. So, this is also an assertive sentence. So, at the end of the assertive sentence, I use full stop. Okay? The little girl smiled after completion of the sentence. At the end of the sentence, I used full stop. One more example. Speak slowly. Speak slowly. Shut the door. Shut the door. So look at here. These are the imperative sentences. So at the end of the imperative sentence, we should use full stop. At the end of the assertive sentences and at the end of the imperative sentences, we must use full stop. Okay? Is it clear, students? So next punctuation mark is question mark. Third punctuation mark is question mark. Question mark. So where do we use question mark? It is used. It is used at the end of it. The end of interrogative sentences. So this question mark we use at the end of interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences mean questions. Whenever we are asking the question, at the end of the question we use question mark. So but not indirect questions. We should not use question mark for indirect questions. Okay? So for example, where do you study? Where do you study? So here we should use question mark. Why? Because this is the question. Okay. And can you sing a song? Can you sing a song? Can you sing a song? What is your name? What is your name? Do you like chocolates? Do you like chocolates? So these are the interrogative questions. At the end of the interrogative sentences, we use question mark. See here, where do you study? This is the question. So we use question mark at the end of the sentence. And can you sing a song? So here also we are interrogating. So this is the question. That's why we use question mark at the end of the sentence. Here, what is your name? That's the question. So I use question mark here. And do you like chocolates? Here also we are interrogating. That means we are asking a question. So that's why I use question mark at the end of the sentence. Is it clear, students? So just now what we learn? What are the punctuations we learn? The first thing is that first capital letters. When do we use capital letters? When do we use at the beginning of the sentence and whenever we are using a proper noun I and he, him, his, if they stand for God and the starting of the proper nouns and beginning of the abbreviations and direct speech. At the starting of the direct speech, we use capital letters. And after that, full stop. At the end of the assertive sentences and imperative sentences, we use full stop. And next punctuation is question mark. Where do we use question mark? Question mark we use at the end of the interrogative sentences. Is it clear, students? And next punctuation mark is exclamation mark. What is that? Exclamation mark. What is that? Exclamation mark. Wonder mark. We can say wonder mark. Wonder means sudden expression, sudden feeling of joy, sorrow, anger. These are called exclamation marks. At the sentence, at the end of the sentences, we use exclamation marks. For example, oh, at last I met him. At last I met him. What a beautiful day. What a gorgeous dress. Okay. Exclamation mark. So this is also one type of punctuation. So where do we use this exclamation mark? At the end of the exclamatory sentences. So for example, oh, at last I met him. So this is called an exclamation mark. So this is the exclamatory sentence. And what a beautiful day. So at the end of the exclamatory sentence, I used exclamation mark. And next, what a gorgeous dress. So here also I use exclamation mark. So whenever we talk about the sudden feelings of anger, joy, happiness, we use exclamation mark. So we also call that wonder marks. Okay? Is it clear, students? I hope you understand today's session and the remaining I will explain tomorrow. Okay? Thank you.